everyone. All right, so we're trying something new. This is called Mate Talk. And this is, the idea is I want to create something that's a little bit informal. I am a little bit nervous. I have to be completely honest here. I feel like I'm navigating new waters. I realize that this is, it's almost like vlogging to a point. I look back on the reason for this is really a chance to connect in a different kind of way. And so maybe this could work, maybe it doesn't. But I'm gonna try this out for 4 weeks. Boom, baby. Episode 200. I love that I said that I was gonna do this for 4 weeks. I think I was giving myself like a little safety net just in case it wasn't gonna work out. I could bail, but 200th, which means 200 weeks. I was going to say 400. No, it's 200 because it's an episode a week. Welcome everyone, Mate Talk time, and I dare say that this is a thing now. I believe that this has become a bit of a rhythm to the channel. When I first started it, I'm glad that there are some things that remain the same, and that is one continuous role. The intent behind that was really to for you to see the real person. And up until that moment, I'd been, and still do, productions with multiple cameras and B-roll of the footage, in which allows me to construct a very deliberate message, like in storytelling, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so those videos are very deliberate in the way that they are put together. Whereas what I wanted this to be is a real moment in time. The deeper the deeper we move into life, with AI and all this sort of thing, the reality of this moment is really precious. And I want to thank everyone for supporting the concept. I have tried my best to adapt it. Originally, this was only meant to be for subscribers of the channel. It wasn't meant to be like a private thing, but it was for those subscribers who asked me questions that took me quite some time to test new fragrances or to answer and respond. So it was really directed to those who were, I guess, the community of the channel. And so I was very stubborn at the start to change the format. The music, for instance, it's meant to be that it's ad-lib, it's a bebop jazz. Listening to that first track, it was a bit loud. The bings, I don't know why I love the bings so much, but I do, which changed into gongs because they were annoying. And then slowly started to realize that, hang on a second, Mate Talk is now my forward-facing concept in which I can connect with people and connect with you guys. My mate is out of the reach. So the whole idea was, and it was really birthed from my own nationality, in which we drink mate as friends and therefore also mate here in Australia. So we drink mate as friends, and it's a chance to really talk about real things rather than just superficial top level stuff. We really get into the real meat of our lives and our connection as friends and as humans. So I'm glad that has not changed. I'm going to add something different to Mate Talk 200. I've got a new concept that I'm playing around with, and let's see how we go. I'm going to give it 4 weeks and see if this sort of sticks. The idea is that these are mates of Marcelo. I've discovered as I move through that people are into similar things that I am. I love perfume, I love niche perfumery, but I also love watches, I love my beads, I love, there's so many things. Pens, actually, sorry, I just saw, because I bought some new inks. I love, different pens, I love different inks. So I thought it would be cool to introduce or welcome other people who have similar interests, but now they're the expert, and have them share. So this good man here, his name is Rob. He's based in the US, and he's going to talk to us about watches. Anyway, I'll show you at the end. The other announcements for today. Sorry, I've got this cable. Can you see this cable? It's annoying. Good thing it's black because it's hiding. So on the next cut, I'm going to fix that cable up. The announcements. At the end of this, we are going to have a promo that is going to celebrate the 200th Mate Talk. It will run for 4 weeks. I'll tell you more about what you can win there, a full bottle and some other things. This coming, not this Saturday, but the following, the 9th, we are doing Libertine meetup at the Libertine Boutique in Melbourne, High Street, Armadale. new venue. It's beautiful. 11 a.m. I'll be there. Be there for quite some time. I normally say I'll be there for an hour or two. I end up being there for a lot longer. So I just let it flow basically. And then, yeah, so if you can make it would be great to meet you and to experience fragrances in real time with you there. And the last thing we're going to do today is the spin, the member spin. We're going to do 3 spins just to thank everyone for their support, etc. And I've got some great prizes for everyone. All right, let me begin. So I mentioned that I made a huge mistake. I was very forthcoming in revealing that it took me a long time to come across the Outlands. Happy to say, here is Outlands. It is now part of the collection. This is an incredible fragrance, which everybody knows, but I was being such a stubborn Argentinian, going, everyone's talking about it, I'm not going to talk about it, until I discovered it and smelled it, and I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, what is this voodoo magic, glorious fragrance? So I will be doing a review on Outlands, even though it's been done by many, many others, but I am going to throw my hat in the ring for that. And I thought it's only fair that we look back in time. I am a deep lover of all things Amouage, have a massive collection, and I thought, let's shine a light on the brand. I've noticed that more and more these newer ones that are coming out seem to be overshadowing the massive library of beautiful fragrances that they have. If you missed the conversation of last week, these are 5 must-haves in my opinion, 5 that I love constantly and they're in constant rotation. They are definitely a sort of bigger hitting fragrances. I have a lot more presence, but they're a great place if you're new to Amouage. They're a great place to start. If you don't have them, it's a great inclusion in your collection. Today, I called this initially hidden gems, but I don't believe anything within Amouage is a hidden gem. Amouage is a very well-established brand. People know it deeply. But I'm going to say that these stand in the shadow of these newer releases, things like Outlands, things like Guidance and things of that nature, that these ones here seem to be a little bit more, I guess, forgotten. The forgotten ones. There we go. So today I want to put them on your radar. For me, these are glorious. And again, high repeat. They're on constant repeat on my behalf. And I'll show you because I've mentioned before, I don't like I'm not an oversprayer in that I only spray 3 times, 4 if I'm being just ridiculous. So if something is being hit hard, it means that it's in constant repeat with me and also those in my office and in my family. The first one that I want to put to you is something that does get a little bit overlooked, and that is Memoir Man. It's an early release. It is during the Chong era. So those who, I love this arm wrestle that is currently happening between Chong and Salmon Renaud Salmon. Some people, actually just a quick story, that the first ever tour that I did, we were in the south of France, the final day. The next day I was actually meeting Renaud Salmon in Cannes, and we were having this beautiful dinner in this establishment, and I said to everybody present, tell me about Amouage. I've got a meeting with Renaud tomorrow, and what are some questions that I could raise? Oh my goodness gracious, that was, I threw a grenade into that room because 2 very strong camps emerged. One that just love all things that Christopher Chong did, and then the other camp talking about what Renaud Salmon is doing to them, and they were at loggerheads with each other. It was, honestly, for me, I'm like, I did not know this was a thing. So I've discovered that, yeah, there is a very strong camp between the 2. Let me just point out, I love both of these guys. I think they both did great things for Amouage. I do love the work that Renaud Salmon is doing. I know that it's a little bit more commercial than what Christopher Chong was doing, but I don't see that's a bad thing. It's a business, you got to grow. And yeah, okay. I'm going to stop there because I'm going to get people going, no, I disagree, which is fine. You can disagree. I think it's cool. Anyway, Memoir Man. So if you love fougere, and in Christopher Chong's era, it was very distinct in that the very square bottle was man and the very squatty, smaller bottle was woman. And they would release these 2 things. And they were, in my opinion, very distinctly man-woman, So even though I don't believe that there is, we can allocate a smell to a man or a woman, however, more masculine, meaning that it has woods and spices and aromatics and things of that nature that seems to fit well with a man's sort of fragrance preference, and then more florals and softer and sweet and yada yada, and that seems to fit more with a feminine profile. Having said that though, I do have Epic Woman, and I'm going to recommend it for the boys. Great as a fragrance for women, but beautiful for a man to wear too. Anyway, back to here. This is a fougere, but a fougere like, but done in a regal style. Sometimes when you say fougere, people think it is a barbershop style fragrance, which is aromatic and bright and has coriander and, you know, these and lavender, but it's a lighter lavender. Here, everything feels serious and feels mature and grown up, but a young man can wear this, so it doesn't feel out of reach for, say, someone in their early 20s or a 19-year-old, for instance. And trying to sort of define what does this smell like, it conjures in my mind a king. And the problem with kings in history is that they've all been just troublemakers. You know, think of Henry VIII, chopping heads off and just doing things for his own benefit. So the king, I'm thinking, so it's not a king obviously that I'm thinking, so what am I thinking? And it's actually the character of Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. And it's this person who is very dependable, reliable, you know, steps up to defend a wrong, has a masculine strength about this individual. But on the flip side, can be benevolent, can be soft, and can be tender, and can also feel the pains of others and things like that. I know it's a bit much, but that gives you an idea of what is this scent profile. When it opens, and let me spray it because I'm on the dry down here. I love this fragrance, by the way. And look, and if I go one more, I mentioned to you, if you can see it in this light, Nick cannot. So the fragrance is up to here. So like a third of it is gone, which is impressive for me because I've got a vast collection. They're a big bottle. So I do use this quite often. It's a dress up or dress down comfortably. You can put a suit on and this just works like magic, but I could be just a casual day and also be wearing this and it is like magic. So on opening, one spray. Oh, this is gorgeous. So I get the first thought that I get is a very cedar-like forest quality to it. The woods, the fir, the needles on the cedar tree, the ambience of this forest. But I also do get a very clear mint note. It's not a sunshine mint, so it's not like a Torino 21 where it almost feels a little bit confectionery. There is a gravitas to this herbal note of the mint, and I do believe there is also a basil. I think I'll put it here actually. But there is another herbal element to it which gives it a sense of earthiness, of being grounded, of that strength that I mentioned about earlier. It's instantly, so it's a fragrance that I'm gonna put it out there. You could easily, first spray, you're like, yep, I get this as a man. I get this, I love it, and it works. I do find that if you wanna be the ultimate power couple, so Memoir Man, a great fougere, and then Memoir Woman is actually a shipper. Sandra's has, so I got this as a man and woman sort of lineup. It's a beautiful, so talking about the girls, the Memoir Woman has a beautiful tuberose white floral. I think it's a white floral accord, but I get a very distinct white floral. It's not indolic and it's not, you know, hypersexual or anything like that, but it's very feminine and it's delicate, and there is an ethereal nature to it. So the queen, essentially. So it's very much aligned to that same sort of visual of a king and a queen. Memoir Man is definitely that very stoic, very confident man. On the dry down, once it moves from there, I do get more of the pine. I almost feel like I'm in the Mediterranean too. So think of like a craggly outcrop. You see the pine or a cedar tree sort of looking out from the rocks, and you see the ocean, and there is a sense of freedom. There's a sense of optimism. There's a sense of confidence. And again, I go back and there's a leathery touch, just a slight sort of a whisper of a leathery sort of element to it too. It is a wonderful It is a wonderful confident maker. It's a wonderful, you feel good. You feel good wearing this fragrance. Memoir Man, big recommendation. And I find that on me, the lasting power is probably about 8+ hours. I maybe spray a little bit more on this guy here. So normally when I do wear it, 2 on my chest, 1 on my arm, but 1 on the back of my neck. And that's primarily when I'm going to somewhere. I do like using this as my dress up fragrance. And it's just a really good masculine, confident maker, man, fragrance style. Boom. All right, let me move on. So I mentioned before about the squattier bottles being the woman. So I have Epic Man, and Epic Man is epic. It's take no prisoners, it's bold, it is assertive. This now, whereas Memoir Man is a little bit more constrained, it's more like I'm self-assured, I know who I am. Epic Man tells you that I am epic, and it has this boldness. I know that I mentioned a while back that I was, my photographer had come in, had been wearing it now for 2 hours or something like that. I sprayed it at home, so it wasn't even that I sprayed it here at the office. He walked in and he's like, whoa, what in the world is that? So it really commands presence, Epic Man does. So again, I bought Epic Man, Epic Woman, and my wife does not like this fragrance. She's like, it's a big hard no. It is Epic Woman now. So it has it's a rose, so it's celebrating a rose. But this is Boss Woman. And to put into context, my wife likes more white florals. She does love florals in her fragrance. She does love the feminine touch that happens with these beautiful florals, in particular white florals. Whereas here, it is bold, it is sharp, it is, and I'll go as far as saying the opening is a touch offensive. It's a little bit like, what in the world? It actually has an arresting nature to it. I mentioned about Epic Man, so bold, assertive, take no prisoners. Epic Woman maybe starts off a little bit, that self-assured, strong in its, hands on your hips sort of confidence. But it now is kind to the prisoners as it begins to migrate. It softens up, and it's that rose that begins to take more shape. I find that as it moves through, it becomes a very woody, spicy rose. The rose is delicate. It's not overly accentuated, but it's present, and it's really about. For me, it's about those other notes: the herbal, the green, the more sharper notes that are in the fragrance. All right, so I won't spray the opening because it is very sharp. I think it has. Cumin is a very interesting note. In most cases, it has a very sort of acrid sort of sharpness to it. It says pink bay, and I always got a very distinct herbal element out of it in exploring it. And for me, I actually thought of a bay leaf, and actually I think it's an extension of bay leaf. So that makes sense to me. So that very herbal, very leafy green, not leafy, sorry, that very herbal, very green aspect that you get from a bay leaf, that's what I get on that opening. But it's the dry down where the magic happens. Let me just go there. And it's divine. Ladies, the opening is sharp. The opening is somewhat arresting. A little bit, as I said, you'll turn up your nose a little bit on it. But let it settle, and when I say settle, give it 15, 20 minutes, it'll calm itself down. And then the rose begins to sort of take shape. As a mental picture, visual image, so if I take Memoir Woman, the mental picture is blue sky and this white flower, tuberose-esque, sort of, swaying slightly in the wind. The Epic Woman is in fact a black background with this very dark rose in the center of it, and it's lit. One end is it's somewhat in shadows, whereas the other part is very finely lit, so you can see some details, but it is more in shadows. You can see some of the thorns on this actual stem of the actual rose itself. That is Epic Woman. There is a sense of mystery. There's more going on in here. It's a little bit, the rose is there, but it doesn't reveal itself too deeply. This is why a man can easily wear this. That rose doesn't step forward too deeply. And it's epic. It's really, for a man to wear, It's a great, great fragrance. So Sandra does not wear this fragrance, period. It's one that I've adopted for myself. It's one that I love using. All right, have I said everything there? Ba, boom, boom, yeah, yep. Yes. All right, let me move on. The next one that I absolutely adore, and again, you're gonna see that I'm gonna go the more squattier bottles. It used to be for girls, it's for everybody now. I still think that even the earlier ones is for everybody. This is, no, Crimson, that's got the wrong one. This is Material. And when this first came out, a lot of noise was made around this fragrance. And it came out with Boundless, which is another great fragrance, just glorious fragrance. Boundless seemed to have got a lot more attention, whereas this one here got some, but probably not as much as Boundless. Now, can you see, I'm nearly at the halfway mark. So this isn't, I've had it for a while, but this is one that is in high repeat when it comes to the use of it. The key for me on this fragrance here is that it is a cozy fragrance. This is one that will calm your mind, ground your soul, make you feel a sense of like a warm hug, but make you feel like it's okay, it's all good, you've got this. The crowning, I guess, note in this fragrance here is a vanilla from Madagascar, and it celebrates that, but it does it in a beautiful, non-gourmand, non-sweet way. The moment you say the vanilla from Madagascar, it conjures up images of like a sweet pastry or some kind of sweet-ish sort of fragrance. Not Swedish, sweet-ish. Whereas here, it walks a very delicate line of being present, the vanilla, but now supported with a cinnamon bark, with the more woody aspect, a little bit of spices in the actual fragrance. As I said, it's a super calming, just a wonderful enveloping style of fragrance that you can wear all year round. So this is summer, winter. For me, I find that this works great. It doesn't really matter what kind of weather we're having. And I love it. It's really divine. So I'm deep in the dry down here, so about an hour or so. I'm getting still that beautiful cinnamon spiciness from the fragrance. The vanilla is very present, and it's interesting because it walks that fine line of being somewhat pulpy, so you can detect the more vanilla bean as opposed to the vanilla pastry gourmand aspect of it, and blended in with that woody aspect of the fragrance. I think from memory, because I'm getting like also, I've wrote here balsamic, which is true, tic-tac-toe, chill, yep, spicy, woody, yep. All right, so I am getting like an amber resin sort of, like this caress of, and golden is the color that you see, this beautiful amber, gentle element to the actual fragrance. A man or a woman can wear this. This is an easy, anyone can enjoy this fragrance. And it's such a peaceful fragrance, such a calming fragrance. It does have more spicy elements to it. It does have that vanilla touch, but it's something that you smell this and you would feel, if someone is wearing this, you would feel, I don't know, you feel an attraction to them. It's not overtly vanilla. I know that vanilla can be very aphrodisiac, so it's not in that space, but it definitely has that vanilla touch. I think I've said enough. I'm gonna stop so we can begin our edit. Boom. And back. I mentioned about Meander being a very, not Meander, Meander is the one we're about to talk about. I talked about Material being a very cozy, very comforting fragrance, but it has those spicy elements. So, and not that it peps you up, but it makes you more alert and present. The other one that I also is a very comforting fragrance is Meander. And truthfully, I should have put it into last week's episode of must-haves within the Amouage collection. One thing that I do love is a lot of people put comments when, as they did their lineup of fragrances that they own from Amouage, Meander was pretty much up there. So if you're not aware of this fragrance or you haven't tested it out, I do recommend it. Sorry, hungry. The bear. Sorry. The best way to describe this fragrance is, if you've seen the movie Wings of Desire, that they remade it, I think City of Angels with Nicolas Cage and blah blah. But Wings of Desire, check that out. The essence of the story is that there are angels amongst us, and they're there really to help humanity essentially. And as you see, there are moments where the human is getting distracted or something is occurring, and these angels are putting their hand on their shoulder and sort of making them aware or alerting them or helping them essentially. The one that I love is in the library. I love that all the angels are in libraries. I love it. Meander is that. Meander is that comforting angel that says it's all good, you know, be cool, be calm. The thing that I love about Meander too is that it is a quietly persistent fragrance. It's one that you feel doesn't have as much presence, for instance, as Interlude Man or Black Iris Interlude. And it's true, it doesn't have that same sort of like, you know, big trumpets are sounding the moment you spray Black Iris. Whereas when it comes to its presence and longevity and awareness that you're wearing this, it matches Interlude, in my opinion. So whenever I'm wearing this, Sandra instantly picks it up. Yesterday, I was wearing all these fragrances. I'm wearing them again today. I'm actually wearing Meander as my fragrance. And even though I'm covered in beautiful smells and I can smell different things, Meander continues to present itself forward to remind me of its beauty. And my brain, whenever I smell it, I'm like, oh, wow. It says, I love you. And it's a comforting, it's a calming, it's a reassuring kind of fragrance. I love that sometimes there are no cuts other than when the camera decides to stop operating. It's part of Mate Talk. I think it's part of the joy. Let me spray this. I'm wearing it today. So this is Meander. And as I mentioned, it's very discernible actually because I had to change the battery. As I moved around, I'm picking up again Meander. So even though I'm covered in perfume, Meander is it's persistent, as I said. It's a persistent fragrance. You are aware that you're wearing it. The opening is divine. There's a creaminess in the scent profile, and there's an earthiness also intertwined. When this fragrance came out, the visual that they were sort of associating to it was a misty mountain. And from memory, I think it was like celebrating a particular landmark within Oman. There were mountains, greenery, but it was surrounded with this mist and this sort of fog, essentially. And you do get an essence of that. Sometimes I love when fragrances, when they come out and they sort of trying to paint a picture, and it's a great marketing sort of vessel, vehicle of sharing. But sometimes when you smell the fragrance, I'm like, I'm not getting that. Whereas here, it's exactly that. So the misty mountains, greenery, there's a sense of mystery in there. There's a sense of calm. There's also a sense of belonging, you know, like you are grounded. And you're getting all that in the opening of the fragrance, and actually as you wear it. The four key notes that I really love is one, the carrot seed on that opening. That earthiness really sort of transcends on the start of the fragrance, and as it moves through, the frankincense, and I do believe it is a celebration of frankincense, but it's not church-like. It's there is a green touch to it. There is a soft resinous nature to the actual. There is a sense of peace as from its scent profile. The other one is orris, and there's a nice powdery effect that it has, and sandalwood. And the sandalwood that's in my mind that I can see is a very Nordic, you know, white, not white, but sort of that very light colored wood, very soft and, you know, textured. You can feel, you know, you can run your hand across it. It's all these four elements that are coming through in the fragrance. And it's absolutely divine. I do get I got like a sweet, because I do get a sweetness from it, and I'm not sure where it's allocated, but I got like a sweet almond, an almond milk sort of texture to it. And it does run all the way through the fragrance. Let me just... And it's just beautiful. I see clouds and misty and just gorgeous. I wrote here, anytime, anyone. So this is a perfect fragrance for no matter what you're going through in wherever you may be. It works well in summer. It does work well in winter. It's a comfortable fragrance, and a man or a woman can easily wear this and not feel that you're like, nah, I guess a woman could wear this, or I guess a man could wear this. It's if you wear it, it almost melds and molds to you. So it's an easy fragrance for anyone to wear. I'll go one more. Whenever I'm wearing this, as I mentioned earlier, Sandra picks up on it. And first thing she says to me is, you need to bring that home. So, you know, why are you always keeping these beautiful fragrances at the office? Which I don't. I share them around. But she loves Meander. It's a beautiful fragrance. She loves to wear it, and she loves it when I'm wearing it too. Boom. Beep, bada, boop. Oh, and the other thing I just wrote here, I do love the name. So Meander gives you the impression or the idea that you are wandering, you are journeying, but also you're discovering. So like a river that meanders and sort of weaves and moves around. This is the same, and I think the fragrance does that. It sort of presents itself at different times. You think that it's gone, and then all of a sudden it'll reemerge. I think I mentioned before my camera stopped, I was wearing this yesterday as my fragrance. I also was wearing it on my body itself. And even deep into the evening, I could smell Meander on me as I was watching TV, actually. Boom, great fragrance. And one that should also be part of that minimum within the brand. Boom, this cable is still giving me drama. The next one that I want to go is now, so when this, and Meander and Ashore and Crimson Rocks, I also have Enclave, by the way. When these came out, I do believe these were the collection with Renaud Salmon, and I was in a masterclass with him. He was explaining the fragrances and what they were trying to conjure, what they were trying to capture. Fell in love with the concept as a whole, and I really felt that fragrance nailed all these pieces. I actually sort of ticked those boxes. The next one that I would put forward to you, which is a lot more feminine leaning, but a man can wear, and I'll explain more, is this gorgeous fragrance here, which is Ashore. I've had a few men reach out to me, say, what would I recommend as a good jasmine fragrance? Ashore. If you're a woman and you love white florals and you love, you know, the jasmine, Ashore. The one thing that I love about Ashore is that when it opens, it does come out very jasmine-like, but not girly or white floral or playful or anything like that, of that nature. There is more of not a seriousness, but there's something like dirty in there, but not in Dolly, so not animalic in any way. Sandra calls this her grown-up jasmine fragrance. Sandra, as I mentioned before, loves all things white florals. She does love the jasmine as one of the notes. Let me just give you the opening. I'm deeper in the dry down, and I'll talk about that because that's more for the boys. On opening, and I just thought of it again, I wrote this down. I do think for some reason beach, and I'm not saying beachside, seaside aquatic, you know, enjoying the sun. You're now on the Esplanade, and you are, I don't know, go for a stroll. Actually, you're having something to eat. It's cosmopolitan. You're a lot more. You are more enjoying the atmosphere as opposed to being by the ocean side. It's a very. It's a white floral. It's a jasmine, but there is a sweet element that's in there. I was going to say playful, but it's not playful because playful maybe conjures up the image of like a more girly kind of fragrance. There isn't a grown-up feeling to this particular to Ashore. There is more of a, as I said, Sandra calls it her grown-up jasmine fragrance. So I think it's more aligned to that, you know, something that's a bit more dressed up than just you know, going out in the sun. But I do get sunshine. I do get, you know, something bright and happy. Now, boys, so girls, easy fragrance to wear. This is a really beautiful jasmine fragrance. Doesn't sort of dance around a lot and go in different places. Epic Woman does that. You know, there's a lot of movement to the fragrance. Whereas here, that jasmine pretty much stays throughout the fragrance. It just tones itself down a bit. Now, boys, if you want a really good jasmine, I recommend this. The only problem is for the first hour, it is a little bit more feminine leaning. You do get a lot more of the jasmine white floral piece coming forward, and you may feel if you're uncomfortable with florals in your fragrance, you may feel a little bit like, not so sure. If you do want a good jasmine fragrance for a boy, then I would recommend to you Bloom, the Zahara fragrance. Mate Talk 200 is conspiring against me. I've now got my camera with its battery flashing at me. So let me stop because I don't want to be going halfway through this. I'll be right back. I'm back. As I mentioned, if you want a beautiful, boys, a jasmine fragrance that is a little bit less indole and less white floral, sort of sunshine, does have an incense, I'd recommend this to you. Here's a production that I did on the Zaharos. You can explore it deeper in that particular episode. Now, for Ashore. So back to boys and girls. It does start off very white floral, but then when it dries down, there is an ambergris accord, and that's the, I think, part of the celebration of this particular fragrance, that it wants to celebrate this aquatic sort of nature to it. It does bring down the floral aspect of that jasmine. It does give it a bit more of a, and this is a part where it gets tricky because it's not an aquatic fragrance. I don't think it is. So I don't place it. For me, aquatic is Melissa Imperial, that has more of a seaside sort of feel to it. What does happen is that the jasmine gets pulled right back. It doesn't get necessarily dirty, but it becomes a bit more resinous. There's a bit more sort of like there's a covering over the top of it. I've really tried my hardest to explain what is it that I'm feeling from the fragrance, because I don't get any animalic, I don't get any dirtiness, I don't get any of the indole or anything of that nature. But it's like it's got a light sand covering of it. I think that's probably the best way I can define it. So it has that jasmine really sort of tones itself down. It's gorgeous. For a man to wear, it's super. For a man to wear, it's really sophisticated. It has a beautiful, you got to be comfortable with florals, because the jasmine is still very present, but there is I don't know, there's a debonair about it. It really has a beautiful flair with that jasmine scent. It's gorgeous. End of story. It's gorgeous. It's a great, great fragrance. It just makes you feel happy. It just makes you feel like you want to go along the Esplanade. And for me, I've got the French Riviera in my brain. This is when I keep saying the Esplanade, I'm actually seeing whether it's Nice or whether it's Cannes or something of that nature, but just this beautiful, sophisticated, debonair sort of this, place where you're dressed up a little bit, but you're just enjoying the seaside sort of nature to it. Anyway, Ashore, I recommend it to you. It's one that not a lot of people talk about, but well worth it. Boom. All right, next one. This last one that I have, is that right to say? Yes, it is. Another gorgeous one. This is Crimson Rocks. Again, if I go back to, this is celebrating a rose, and easy for a woman. So the rose in here isn't overtly rose, doesn't sort of really pronounce itself deeply. For a man, this is a fantastic rose because there is a sweet touch on that opening, which does linger throughout the fragrance, but it just creates just a beautiful atmosphere with this rose note. And as I've been moving my arm around, because it's on this hand, I've been constantly getting this beautiful Crimson Rock sweet element to this fragrance. So there is also a spiciness in there, but the rose is now, it feels more full-bodied. It feels more sort of full and in the sun, it's happy, but not fruity. So think Radical Rose, very fruity, very bubbly almost. This one here is more, it's, the visual is now a beautiful banquet, going back to my Aragon and King. So a beautiful banquet, and there is this warmth to this particular rose. I think that's the key of it. Let me give you the opening. Let me see. I sprayed that one already. Okay, boom, bada boom. The opening for me reminds me of a moment in time. It has, so here in Australia, because of our, I guess we're connected to England. We were a convict state. This is where they sent all the riffraff. And so we've adopted a lot of, I guess, English traditions and things of that nature. One of them was the hard-boiled lollies, for instance. So that's still a thing here in Australia. There's an area which is called Ballarat. It's celebrated, not celebrated, but that's where the gold rush for Victoria occurred. And there is a particular venue they call Sovereign Hill, which sort of recaptures that time. Everyone's dressed up. It's like a theme park to a degree, but there's no rides or anything of that nature. It's really about stepping back in time and seeing what it would have been like in that time. Now, there's a lolly shop in there, and this is what this is the picture that it paints for me. As a young father, we used to go there quite often with my children, and it was always cold. It's a cold part of the world, and the lolly shop was always warm. There was wood paneling everywhere. They would actually be making these hard-boiled lollies. So there's a smell of sugar in the air, but all these other spices and these other essences that they would put in, things like raspberry, but it's now not a fruity raspberry, it's more of an acidic sort of scent profile, cinnamon, aniseed, all these sort of scent profiles, and that's what I get. On opening, I get this collection of, and rose is another sort of note that's in there. So this collection of sweet and spicy and the rose, and it's warm, it's cozy, it's inviting, it's comforting, and it's divine. So on opening, for me, when I first sprayed this in that class with Reynolds, I'm like, bada bing, mind you, I did that to all 4 of them. Bada bing, I love this fragrance. It's just like, it ticks all my boxes. The dry down is divine, and this is really, the celebration is the rose, but now it goes into that warm, sweet, spicy rose, and it's just an easy fragrance to wear. So it was, I mean, being that it's in that sort of Guardia bottle, it was sort of leaning towards a woman, but a man can comfortably wear this. The rose is a lot more pronounced than, say, Epic. So if I look at Epic Woman, the herbal nature to this fragrance here, the green pieces with that very sharp rose is definitely present, whereas in Crimson Rocks, it's spicy, warm, slightly amberous. There's a resinous tone to it, but it is very inviting. It's not as cozy as Material, so I'm giving you all these because I'm like, I want to smell all of them now. And Material retains the sweetness from that vanilla, the spiciness also, the cinnamon. So, yeah, just anyway, you could have each one of these, and I'm going to say each one has its own rhythm. All 6 of them are just divine to wear, and they do stand in the shadow a lot from the ones that are coming through. These are not big room fillers, and maybe I've noticed more and more fragrances that are coming out have a lot more, just punch. Outlands is definitely that, a lot of push on that fragrance. Whereas these ones here, they have moderate in their presence, but they're very present. They never become a body scent. People are aware that you're wearing these fragrances. They are comforting fragrances, things that bring peace into your soul. And we're done. Love to hear your thoughts on those 6 Amouages. I liked last week that people put their Amouages and things that they love wearing. Please put it in. I'd love to hear this too. Moving forward, I am going to start looking at the more recent releases that have come through from Amouage, in particular Outlands, but I also want to dive into the Act 2. I did test out those ones there, and I like them. I actually, again, another ones where I thought, wow, they've really sort of knocked this out of the park. But tell me otherwise. Tell me what your thoughts are. I know Janik is out there. I did read your comment. Let me just say, last week there was a lot of comments that came through. I'm going through slowly. I'm trying to make sure that I cover off all those. And Janik, I did see your comment. I do want to respond to that. But yeah, I do enjoy this conversation. Boom. All right, now let me move on to something brand new. So Mata Talk 200 is really a celebration of something new. I'm going to try this for 4 weeks and see how this all plays itself out. The intention is that I want to invite people who are expert in their field or passionate, more to the point, passionate about something rather than just hearing me talking about it and sharing it. I want to bring these other individuals. Yesterday I had because I do my French classes. I am such a good student. Mon prof de français, Monsieur Luc, He's a good guy. He helps me out with my French pronunciation, and it's not a bad thing to train your brain. And we were talking about pens, so I'm into pens like crazy. And I threw that one away. So people have asked me about my pens. I do love ink, different inks that I use. And he was talking about a place that he goes to in Bern, and there's a great retail. So I've already said to him, I want you to be one of the mates of Marcelo and talk about the pens that you love using, inks, and what's the difference. More and more, this is one thing that I've discovered in myself and some others, the deeper we go into the digital world and AI and blah, blah, the more I'm pushing away from that, meaning that I want to disconnect myself from just being in the matrix. And I want to be more and more with things that are tactile, things that are a bit more analog. It slows my brain down, and so I want to share that with you guys. That's the intention behind it. Boom. Allora, so now this.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm Rob Weintraub. I've been in the watch industry for 20 years, and I'm the manager at Manfredi Jewels in Greenwich, Connecticut, United States. My 3 picks for starting out a watch collection. My choice for the novice is the Hamilton Khaki Field Murph. This watch was created at the request of Christopher Nolan for the movie Interstellar. The name of Jessica Chastain's character in this movie was Murph, and the story of the movie actually centered around this watch. And so when the watch first came out, it was in a 42mm case, which is kind of large for some, but it was true to the original in the movie. And the 42mm version of this watch actually has a little message in Morse code on the sweep seconds hand. So I'll leave it to you all to do your investigation and see what the word in Morse code is on the watch. They re-released the watch in a 38mm case, and they released it this time with a bracelet or with a strap. And you can also purchase it on a strap, but what I recommend people do all the time is to buy the watch on the bracelet first, because bracelet is very versatile. You can wear it all the time. For the semi-pro, I'm going to recommend the Norqain Adventure. It is a brand that was founded in 2018 in the Swiss Alps. And the brand is centered around outdoor adventure. So all of the design cues that you see, including their logo, which is 2 ends that form a mountain, all about outdoor adventure and usability and fun watches. So they just came out with this new version of the Adventure this year in 2026. It used to be a bit more of a thicker watch, and it was larger. It was 42mm. So they've downsized it down to 40mm. They have a date at 6 o'clock. You have a new mountain pattern on the dial, luminous hands and indices. Is very easy to wear, very robust watch, and a great fun design. And one of the things that I love about Norqain is that you have a little plate on the side of the watch that says Norqain. But every watch that you purchase, they will send you an additional plate that can be personalized to your liking. So if you want to put your initials, a saying, something of inspiration, whatever it is, you can make it your own and put that on the side of the watch. For the veteran, my choice is the Grand Seiko Shunbun, or SBGA 413, also known as the Spring. So there's a lot of things about this watch, a lot of little details that make it very special. For those of you who don't know Grand Seiko is not Seiko. Yes, same parent company, but Grand Seiko is the high-level Seiko. They make watches that are well into the 6 figures. Beautiful finishing, beautiful dial work, and amazing movement technology. This watch is also 40mm. It features the GS62 case, and this is one of their original cases back in the 1960s that they have recreated in a modern watch. And if you'll notice, when you look at this watch, you'll see that there is really no bezel. The glass is actually set into the case, the crystal, which gives a more beautiful view of that dial. Why is this watch called the Spring? Because it is inspired by the cherry blossoms floating on water in the springtime. And so it's actually a pink dial, but it's really luminous and beautiful. This watch features a spring drive movement. This is technology that is unique to Grand Seiko. it is one of the most accurate watches you will find. It's actually a mechanical watch with the accuracy of quartz. And when you see the sweep seconds hand, it doesn't look like a Swiss mechanical watch. It actually floats across the dial beautifully. You also have a 72-hour power reserve, and there's a power reserve indicator on the dial. So what looks like a little gas gauge there on the dial is actually a power reserve. So you see how much power is left in the mainspring. Great movement technology and a rich history to draw upon. So there you have it. Thank you all for listening to me, for Marcelo for having me on the channel and listening to my picks. But please don't hesitate to reach out. You have any questions about watches, watchmaking, the watch industry, I'm here and I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation with you.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate you being the very first person to step forward as one of the mates of Marcelo. I'd love to hear your comments, everyone else. What are your thoughts on this? I'd like to, I love watches. I really I enjoy watches for their beauty and also, for their beauty actually. It feels great. I used to have an Apple Watch. I'll go one more. I just came to the point, it's like, how many more notifications can I have? And, my heart rate, what do I even use that for? And so in the end, I just turfed it and I came back to my first love, which was watches. And I don't have a vast collection, but I've got a happy collection. So I want to bring in more. If you guys like watches and things of that nature, and this is for ladies, then I'll explore this even deeper. But I want to hear your comments. So give me your thoughts. Let me see how we can refine this moving forward as a new segment to All Things Mate Talk. Let me now talk about announcements that I made earlier. The first announcement, let's keep this really quick, and that is Libertine meetup not this Saturday, Saturday the 9th of May, which is next week. 11 a.m. If you're in the Melbourne region, please come along. I really want to meet you guys. It gives us a chance to smell fragrances together. Tell me the fragrances that you love. I would love to explore this deeper. It's really purely a chance to hang out. That's all it is, all right? So if you're able to make it next week, that'd be great to catch up and actually put face to a name. I know there's a lot of people who write in, and I appreciate that. So this way, it gives us a chance to connect. So that's next week, 11 a.m., please. Now, there's a promo that's going to be running right now. We'll run for a month, open to everybody. The only catch is that you do need to be a subscriber to the channel. When you put your comments, I can see this red dot. My team and I will be quantifying or qualifying this. If for whatever chance, we don't see this red dot, we will reach out to you. And if you entered the comp, we'll reach out to you and say, hey, yo, just making sure that you're a member of the channel. So that's the only criteria that we're putting forward. To make it easy for us to identify you and put you into the draw, we're asking everyone to either put the word mate and then number 200, and that'll quickly be able to pick us up. We'll be able to pick you up. Or the mate emoji and then the number 200, and that way we can identify you. Now, you have a chance to win this full bottle, hasn't been opened yet, of Electric Woods Extract, brand new fragrance that Room 1015 have released. Fantastic fragrance, beautiful amber, good for a man or woman, so it's a great fragrance, and I'll send this anywhere in the world. I use DHL, so you'll get that without a problem. Here's now the twist, all right? So if you put mate, 200, yada, yada, you'll get an entry. I love using this wheel. So you'll get a single wedge in that wheel. If you want to get, I think I said 3, yeah. So if you want now your wedge to be 3, then what I'd love you to do is take a photo similar to this. And in that photo, I'd love to see a drink. I mean, if you're into mate, you put your mate there. I think that'd be awesome. A drink, and then obviously mate talk in the background. I'd love you to either put it through your socials. Make sure you tag me. So if you're going to do it through Insta, this is my handle. Make sure you tag me, and that way I can put your name against it, basically. Or just send me the photo. If you don't have socials and blah, blah, just email me the photo or WhatsApp me the photo. Here's the WhatsApp number. And that way I can make sure that it gets allocated to you. Now, if it lands on you, you're now gonna have a much bigger wedge, and if it lands on you, you will win this, but you're also going to win this. And this is the OT Traveler set. It's a leather-bound case, hand stitch, etc. A lot of you may already have this, and you'd be thinking, well, I don't need another one, but you will want this one because when I open up, hello, there's only one fragrance in here, and there are 2 empty spots. Have a look at this artwork. So we are in development of a new concept, and I guess I'm revealing a little bit more now that possibly there are 2 fragrances in this new concept. So if you were to win the bigger prize at the end of the month, as I said, you'll win this, but you're also going to win this with the 2 new fragrances that we are working on. What am I saying? All right, so those who may not be aware, I launched a new brand called Olfactive Traveler. It is linked to KM fragrance stores. I have a touring business which goes behind the scenes with all things perfumery and fragrances and things of that nature. Last year we were in Italy. We met with Luca Maffei. Luca Maffei is the creator of these ones here. Maybe he's also the creator of a new one that we're developing. So if you're interested in unique niche perfumery, etc., then please reach out to me. I can show you, actually, there's this production here which talks about the fragrances in more detail. It celebrates Rome, Florence, and also Milan. Boom. So anyway, promo starts now. Make sure you're a subscriber, have a chance to win this, or if you send me a photo, you have a chance to win both of these items with something special that will be released shortly. This new concept is coming out in about a month and a half, 2 months' time. So that's in full development right now. Boom. Okay, the next thing that I gotta do is the spin. And back. The spin. Now, what's this about? Being a member of the channel, it's $4 a month, very cost effective. And what does that get you? Well, firstly, it gets you a thank you from all of us here at the office. Great support to the channel. Secondly, you do get access to the NFC Discord. It's a closed private group. Great conversation when it comes to niche perfumery. A lot of people who are deeply passionate, is probably, I'm gonna say more than I am, and that's a big call. So deeply passionate about all things niche perfumery. And then the final one, which is this. This is the wheel. Now I'm gonna do 3 spins, and I mentioned last week, so we do this once a month, by the way, and I'm gonna do this religiously. So once a month, at the end of the month, I will do a spin for everybody who is a member. Have a look at this group here. These are all the wonderful members of the channel. The first spin is everybody, and the winner will get, you tell me the sort of fragrances that you love, and I'll put together these great Panadors. I've got a range of these Panadors. They're super cute. Look at this. And different fragrances inside it, bada bing. I will send that off to you guys. You tell me what you like. Everybody who spins here will get a chance to win that. I'm gonna spin again in a minute. But let's go. And there are 5, I think I said last week. There's 5 of these Panadors to be won. Tell me what you like, and I'll send you other things too. Here we go. Good luck to whoever is gonna win this. TC, my man. So that's Thomas, TC. Well done, congrats to you. And back, this is now the second spin, 12 months and above. We begin. The winner of this particular spin, 4 of these Panadors, and you'll get also the Xerjoff. There's an extra samples in here, and some other little bits and pieces. Tell me what you like. Good luck. Oof. Steve, you were this close, my friend. Mundane Eyewear. Is it Matt? Anyway, I do know we've spoken via Discord. Send me a message and I will send you these good things. And now the final spin. Good luck to, this is now, people who, I call them the ultimate gangsters, 24 months and above. You'll win this Amouage, hang on, Sam, my man. Sam, respect, you have been one of the OGs. You were here since the very beginning. Sam even went to the trouble of meeting me in Milan once. Massive, yeah, I appreciate it. Sam, you've won this, my friend. This is a full attar of the original Amouage's. All the oils, they're gorgeous. Wait till you explore that. And plus, I'll have 4 of these. You tell me the fragrances that you like, and I'll get those Panadoras done. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Actually, let me just stop this. There we go. Thanks to everybody for your support. I appreciate. We're at the 200 Mate Talk is a massive milestone. This has been a 2-day event, by the way, because I filmed yesterday. Turns out that the cable was plugged into the wrong socket. I don't know who did that, Hannah. Who did that? But anyway, it was plugged into the wrong. So I'm talking, no audio. So I had to re-record this morning. Then we've had the batteries failing, and oh my gosh, it's almost like the YouTube gods were conspiring against us to not get this episode out, but we did it nonetheless. Here we are. Look forward to your comments. I will answer everything. Hand on my heart, I'm going to answer everyone. So just go ahead and put in your comments. Make sure that you enter the comp and have a chance to win this beautiful bottle. And more importantly, the chance to win, actually I got rid of it, the Discovery set, the OT Traveler with the something new that's coming down the line. Thanks everyone. We'll see you guys all on the next Mate Talk.